All right, thanks, guys. Got some MLB lines and leans for Thursday's baseball action. But before we get into that, I just want to give a quick shout out, a big thank you to my headline sponsor for today's program. That's Jimmy and the boys at GhostPicksATS.com. And if you like making money on sports, there's no reason why you shouldn't check out one or more of their very affordable money-making packages. That's Jimmy and the boys at GhostPicksATS.com. GhostPicksATS.com. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and try to pick some winners and take a look at our Thursday slate of baseball games and personal leans. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And leading off, we got A's Astros. That's 210 Houston. The Astros opened 225 down to 200. Total open 8.5 down to 8 flat. Cahill's for the A's. Morton's for the Astros. A 25-cent fade of the Astros in the early going here. But despite that early fade in the early going here, this Houston squad's gone 9-3 in their head-to-head matchups with the A's. The Astros are also winning 73% of their games, taking on teams allowing more than 4 runs per contest. Now, scoring-wise, we're looking at 9-3 to the over in these teams' 12 heads-up contests. And oddly enough, we're also looking at an Oakland squad who's 17-9 to the over versus teams allowing less than 4 runs per contest themselves. So all those variables in mind, I'm going to go ahead and take the Astros run line and the over, 8 flat. Next game, Diamondbacks, Rockies. That's 310 Colorado. Wild one last night. But as far as today goes, Arizona's the favorite. They're $1.10. Totals at 11 flat. 61% are now leaning Colorado. And at the moment, we got Robbie Ray for the D-backs, Kyle Freeland for the Rockies. But despite starting to take some public money here, this Rockies team is terrible as the home dog. And as a matter of fact, Colorado's winning just 20% of their ball games as the official home underdog. They've also struggled against the Diamondbacks this year, dropping 6 of 8 head-to-head matchups. Now, total-wise, lots of unders in these Freeland starts. 14-4 to the under when Kyle makes the first pitch. The Rockies are also 17-8 to the under when taking on winning ball clubs. So with all those factors in mind, I'm going to lean toward the D-backs outright and the under 11 flat. Next game, Phillies, O's, 605 Baltimore. The Phillies were plus $1, now minus $1.05. Total was 9.5 down to 9 flat. 70% are still leaning toward Philly in this one. And at the moment, we got Pivetta for the Phillies, Gausman for the O's. And speaking of the O's, real bad at home this year. And as a matter of fact, Baltimore's gone just 5-21 in their games as the home dog. They've also gone a dismal 23% in their games versus winning ball clubs. Now, total-wise, all 3 head-to-head matchups between these squads went under the line. Baltimore's also 12-6 to the under when Gausman makes the start. So all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward Philadelphia in the under, 9 flat in this one. Next game, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, 705 Steel City. The Pirates were $1.25 up to $1.30. Totals 8.5. Milwaukee gets the 1.5. We got Miley for Milwaukee, Tyon for the Buccos. And speaking of the Buccos, pretty good against this Milwaukee squad this year. 3-2 in their head-to-head matchups with the Beer guys. They're also taking on a Milwaukee squad who's dropped 3 of their last 5. Now, total-wise, lots of unders between both of these teams. And as a matter of fact, we're looking at 4-1 to the under in these clubs' 5 head-to-head matchups so far in the year. Milwaukee's also 34-21 to the under versus teams allowing less than 4 runs per contest. So all those betting factors in mind, I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the Pirates money line and the under 8.5. Next game, Blue Jays, Red Sox, 710 Fenway. The Sox were $1.80 down to $1.65. Total was 9.5 down to 9 flat. We got Hat for the Jays, Price for the Sox, and a significant 15-cent fade of the Bo Sox in the early going here. despite having Price on the bump and being at home. But despite that early fade, you got to keep in mind that Boston has been outstanding as the home favorite, going 30-11 in those ball games. They've also been pretty dominant against this Toronto squad, going 7-2 in their 9 heads-up matches. Now, scoring-wise, lots of scoring in these J-Hap starts, 13-5 to the over when Jay makes the start. Toronto games also went 11-3 to the over on the road when the line was 9 or higher. So with all those factors in mind, I'm going to go ahead and lean Boston money line in the over 9 flat. Next game, Yankees, Indians, 7-10 Cleveland. The Yankees were plus $1, now minus $1.15. Total 7 flat, 56% are still leaning Yankees. We got Severino for New York, Kluber for Cleveland. Little flip of the lines and 15-cent fade of the Indians at home in the early going here. And despite Kluber's excellent at times this season, we are looking at a Cleveland team who's a winless 0-3 in their trio of games with the Yankees. We're also looking at a Yankees squad who's a remarkable 17-2 in their games, where Luis Severino makes the start. Now, total-wise, Cleveland games are 75% to the under when the line was 7 flat. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Bombers are just 7-12 to the over when Severino makes the start themselves. So with all those variables in mind, I'm going to go ahead and take the Yankees outright in the under 7 flat. Next game, Nationals-Mets, 7-10 Flushing Queens. The Nats were 210 up to 220. Total 7 flat, 70% are leaning Washington. We got Scherzer for the Nats, Matz for the Mets. But despite the early fade and being absolutely terrible this year, the Mets are 4-2 in their head-to-head matchups with the Nationals this year. The Mets also took 2 of their last 3, which just so happened to be against the Phillies. Now, scoring-wise, Steven Matz starts went just 5-12 to the over so far in the season. Meanwhile, on the other side, Mad Max's starts went just 8-11 to the over himself. So with all those trends in mind, I'm going to lean toward the Mets catching the plus money and the under 7 flat. Next game, Rays Twins, 8-10 Minnesota. The Rays open $1.05 up to $1.20. Totals 8 flat. 75% are leaning toward Tampa Bay. We got Snell for the Rays, Gibson for the Twins. A 15-cent fade of the Twins occurred in the early going here. We're also looking at a Twins squad who's a winless 0-3 in their head-to-head matchups with Tampa Bay. In addition to those elements, we're also looking at a Tampa squad who's got some terrific production out of Blake Snell this year. The Rays have gone 12-7 in their games where Blake made the start. Now, scoring-wise, all 3 heads-up matches between these clubs went over the line. Meanwhile, 4 out of Minnesota's last 5 all got over the line as well. So with all those factors in mind, I'm going to go ahead and take the Rays outright in the over 8 flat. Next and final game for the show, we're going to skip Seattle and the Angels. But the next and final game for this show right here, the one that I'm talking about, Dodgers, Padres, 10-10 San Diego. The Dodgers were $1.70 up to $1.90. Totals at 7.5. 68% are leaning Los Angeles. We got Stripling for LA, Ross for San Diego. And speaking of San Diego, no real surprises here as we saw a 20-cent fade of the Pods in the early betting. We are also looking at a San Diego squad who's dropped 8 of 12 head-to-head matchups with LA. We're also looking at a San Diego team who's won just 34% of their games as the official home underdog. Now, total-wise, the Pods are just 7-11 to the over in their games where Tyson Ross made the start. Meanwhile, on the other side, Los Angeles has gone just 5-8 in their Stripling starts themselves. So with all those factors in mind, I'm going to go ahead and take the Dodgers run line and the under 7.5. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me. But before I get out of here, I just have to remind you to check out my daily best play at patreon.com/BrockPage. And with a documented win percentage of 60% for the entire year of 2017, You're hurting yourself each and every day you're not subscribed. I also want to remind you to check out my headline sponsor. That's Jimmy and the boys at GhostPicksATS.com. Jimmy and his team of young, hungry expert consultants at Ghost Picks are the most passionate in the business. And if you thought I was good at handicapping games, these guys are amongst the best in the industry. And as always, thank you for watching today's program. I hope you enjoyed all this great free information. And please don't forget to check out my daily best play at patreon.com/BrockPage.